Just before we look at the TA for Bitcoin, don't forget to visit our website, bpoi.uk. Have a look around. Quite a lot of information on the website, and then you've got click here to sign up. So just click on this particular button. That takes you to bpoi.uk join. And then just have a look at the membership plan. So just want to do a month, $40, 6 months, $100, 12 months, $150. And we got some lifetime memberships as well, 49 lifetime memberships left, $200. So well worth the money. And then obviously take a look around the website and look at the different channels. If you want to join our free Telegram channel, just click on this button here. And then as long as you've got a Telegram account, just click on the view in Telegram and that'll take you to our free channel. We do post quite a bit of information in the free channel, and we'll answer any of your questions, whether that be on a setup that you're looking at or something that we've posted. Okay, cheers guys.
Well guys, 9:10 in the morning on the 21st of January on a very red Friday. Always a good idea when you see these sorts of events happen, just to have a quick scan of the news where you can, have a look at a few different websites and just generally get an idea for what's happening and what the consensus is in general with regards to Bitcoin in particular, the altcoin markets, and whether we're likely to see more downside or whether we're likely to see more upside. So just going through the news quickly, Bitcoin plummets to 38k, leaving over 700 million in liquidations. We generally don't leverage trade in this group, but that's the risk. Okay, so a lot of what has happened has been down to traditional markets. So the tech stocks plummeted in value, and this has had an effect on the Nasdaq and the S&P and other sort of traditional markets. And like we say, there's a degree of talk about the correlation between Bitcoin and traditional markets, particularly the S&P 500. And when they start to move down, obviously it starts to affect Bitcoin, and Bitcoin starts to move down as well, in sync with what's going on generally in the economy. So let's just have a quick scan through the news. So I've just brought a few up. Crypto markets dumped 230 billion in massive Red Friday sell-off. Okay, let's just have a look at the cryptocurrency markets are deep in the red this Friday morning as total capitalization has declined by almost 11% in the past 12 months. The massive slump has resulted in a loss of around 233 billion, sending the total market cap plunging to 2 trillion for the first time since late September. Okay, and then moving down, there's just a bit of news on the fear and greed. The crypto fear and greed index has plunged to an extreme fear level of 19. Surprised it's even that high, to be honest with you. So we'll check that again. Market Watch. That's the main page, but good luck, we'll all need it. US market approaches end of super bubble, says Jeremy Grantham. So there's a possibility that the US markets are in a super bubble, which if it bursts would not be good for any kind of stock, to be honest with you, including Bitcoin. The Nasdaq Composite just logged its 66th correction since 1971. Here's what history says happens next to the stock market. I've posted this chart, this news story in the news channel, so have a read of that. Obviously I can't get it unless I subscribe. eToro, markets plummet as investors dump tech shares. This is from September 2020. So I was just reading this just to get an idea of what happened when this last sort of took place and how the recovery was. So I'm still looking at that at the moment, but I'm looking at September 2020 on the Bitcoin charts and some other charts just to get an idea of what happened after we had a tech stock dump. Okay. Nasdaq 100 ended correction as tech stocks resume slide. So again, it's kind of relating to the tech stocks and the sell-off of tech. Having a quick look down. Amazon. So have a read of that one. I've posted that story as well. Market Business Insider. The S&P 500 could see an additional 10% sell-off if it breaks below key level support. Well, depending on what that key level support is, we're already seeing the S&P 500 below 4546 at the moment. Below that, downside risk would increase to next major support near 4,200. Okay, so if I just bring in the S&P quickly. So this is where we're at the moment, 44.82. So we're well below 4546, which was this red line here. So this what would have been support at the moment. S&P currently on the 618, finding support on the 618. If it were to move down to 4200, we're down here. Okay, so that's some distance to travel on the S&P 500. If the next support level is down here, that's another 6%. So on top of what's already been lost, if you go from the top, potentially 12%. But they're saying it could lose another 10%. So we're talking since yesterday, 8%. So we've got to watch the S&P. So I've set an alert in the channel, the breakout channel. So if the S&P does start to move down, we're going to be alerted to it, and we can look to trade accordingly. Incidentally, on the daily, 200 SMA simple moving average will act as support as well. Ideally, we don't want to see the S&P 500 drop below the 200 simple moving average, which the Nasdaq has done. So again, on the daily chart as well, we see the Nasdaq has broken below the 200 simple moving average. Hasn't done this since the COVID sell-off, so since March 20. Okay, we haven't seen the Nasdaq this low since that COVID sell-off. So this is quite serious with regards to the price action that's going on here. Are we going to see a bit of a rejection of the 200 SMA and the continuation lower? Or will the Nasdaq break back above the 200 like it did back in March 2020 and start to move higher? Okay, so just bring the news back into play. So have a read of this story. I posted this story as well. Crypto liquidations, Cointelegraph, same as before. Crypto liquidations past 700 million altcoins take a hit from Bitcoin sinking below 40,000. So you have to understand with regards to this market, Bitcoin is the king or the puppet master, as they say. Anything Bitcoin does, particularly when it's in a downtrend, is generally replicated across the crypto market, and that goes for all altcoins. So if you look at any altcoin at the moment, you'll see that it's moved down in correlation, I guess, to the movement that Bitcoin is making at the moment. So particularly that's so in a downtrend. Okay, so 40,000 optimism unwinds. Circling 39,000 at the time of writing. Traders were reeling from the sudden downside, which came just as BTC had hit a multi-day highs, passing 43,000. So we had that, and this is the difficult thing with trading. Probably the hardest market to trade in the world is that we had that massive move upwards. Okay, so we had this massive move upwards, and then that was followed by this absolute hammering. So I would imagine a lot of people longed Bitcoin on the basis that they thought it was going to go to the moon, and all the other incorrect messaging that comes from YouTube and various other bloggers and crypto analysts and everything else, when in fact, if you actually play the chart that's in front of you, and that's what we try and say in this group, is that until we break out this upper trend line of this long-term falling wedge and move higher than 43,588, then we're still in a downtrend. And that was the case. We didn't make any inroads really into this falling wedge, into breaking out of this falling wedge, and tie a rejection of the upper trend line in with doom and gloom in the other traditional stock markets, and basically you're in a position where Bitcoin is moving down. But no, I don't think anyone expected this sort of correction. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at Bitcoin quickly, but I'm just going to tidy up this chart because things have obviously moved, and I just want to have a tidy up this chart. I'll come back to you in a second. Okay, so well, obviously you have noticed that took a while, but that took a bit of time to do. So I have just got rid of all the clutter, if you like, anything that wasn't needed at this particular time, just so we can have a clear view of what's going on with regards to Bitcoin and the price action and things to look out for. Okay, so for our time frame, I think the likelihood is we will just move sideways for a period of time Ideally, we don't want to form a bear flag, which is a downward continuation pattern. Okay, so because the stock RSI is obviously heavily oversold, MACD is starting to turn, and obviously RSI, very, very low. I think we'll see Bitcoin hold this area. Okay, I'm not expecting a big move up from Bitcoin at this stage. I think there's too much fear in both the crypto marketplace and traditional marketplaces, and I think people are just waiting to see what the response is, and that would be my non-trading advice to you guys at the moment. I know it's one of those things where you want to try and catch the bottom, because sometimes the most amount of profits are made when Bitcoin dips, and everyone says buy the dip. But I just think in this particular case, it's possibly worth just holding out and waiting to see what happens over the next, I would say, 4 hours, maybe 4 to 8 hours. We could see that move lower, not ruling it out, but at the moment I think we may well just trade sideways. May get above this particular level. Let me just go full chart. So we've got a small amount of resistance here, 39,952. Okay, so possibility that we may get above that level, but for now I think everyone's going to be waiting to see what happens next. Okay, so this level here, 37,496, key support level. I know it's red, but it's red for a reason. It's red because we don't want to be losing this level. If we lose this level, so if Bitcoin moves down past this level and we get some sort of bearish retest, the strong probability is we'll see a touch of this lower trend line and possibly the CME gap. Okay, so I've added the CME gap. So this is from the CME chart. We can see the gap right here. Okay, so there are orders that need to be filled. Possible that Bitcoin does move lower, but the CME gap will get filled. So keep an eye on 37,496, so circa 38,000 area. But if we do move down past this level, bearish retest, then my expectation would be to test this lower trend line. I think if we're here, strong probability that we'll see a move down to fill this CME gap. So key levels of support, 38,244, that's just where we bounced previously, and then, or overnight, and then 37,496. Okay, so let's keep an eye on those levels. Just want to have a look at the daily time. Actually, let me just do this in a minute. So falling wedge. Okay, so we're in this falling wedge. Let me just click on this and then bring the opacity in a little bit. Okay, we're bang in the middle of this falling wedge. So this to me, I just call it no man's land. Okay, because it's one of those areas where it's not an area of value as such. Even though we've seen this dip, we're in the middle of this falling wedge, so the price action could quite easily move down to the bottom trend line, or the price action could move up to the top trend line. Okay, so you've got to remember when we're trading in these patterns, just get rid of those lines. When we're trading in these patterns, they follow the trend lines. Okay, the upper and lower trend line. And let's just go through this once more. So we had a hit at the bottom there, hit at the top. Okay, we then had a hit at the bottom. We did have this bleed, but we then jumped straight back into the pattern, hit at the top. Okay, we then come down, almost hit the bottom trend line, moved up, hit the top trend line, rejected again. So you can see this downward trend path that we're in. Okay, so rejected at the top of the trend line, moving down. Possibility we'll move down to the bottom trend line, move to the top trend line. Okay, and it could continue. This could continue on and on and on and on and on. Could be in this till March. So as we keep saying, with regards to trading, until we break this upper trend line, we are in a downtrend and we'll continue to move down. We'll move down with this upper trend line. Okay, so we need to be breaking this upper trend line. Now, to me at the moment, my bullish scenario is above this level here. So this is 45,432 or 43,588. So I'm looking for a break of this trend line and then a move above this level. Okay, that to me would be bullish. Ideally, we need to put in this higher high here. Okay, so we need a higher high So the price action needs to move above this area here. So let me just draw that in actually. 1 second. So we need a higher high above, sorry, voice is going again. So higher high above 44,687. Okay, so higher high being a upward trend continuation. So you would move up, put in the higher high, retest, start to move up, and you're constantly putting in higher highs and higher lows. At the moment, we're putting in lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so we're in a downtrend. We want the opposite of that, but we need to get above this lower high level here. Okay, so I'll draw this up properly and then I'll post this chart in the group. So just going back to the 4, actually, just have a quick look at the 1 hour chart, just to see how things are faring up on the 1 hour. 1 hour is a good indication of what's likely to happen in the shorter term, obviously. So have a look at our indicators. Okay, so the stock RSI is moving up, and we're moving up with it, albeit not by much. Okay, so we've got the MACD is just starting to plateau out. So we're looking for a MACD cross, bullish cross on the MACD. We're looking for the RSI to start moving up, and then we're looking for the stock RSI to move up. All 3 indicators moving up together might well give us that push to start moving higher. At the moment, what I'm expecting is the stock RSI will just get to overbought. The MACD will pretty much stay bearish, and then we'll see a move down, and we'll see a move down from the price action. That's my expectation at the moment on the 1 hour time frame. Just have a look at the daily time frame. So the daily time frame is coming down to oversold, which is good. Stock RSI oversold, likely to see an upturn and a move up. Trouble is, we just had a bearish cross on the MACD. Okay, so you can see we've just had that bearish cross on the MACD. So MACD heading down, which isn't a good sign, and we need to just be respectful of that MACD cross, and we'll be looking for this to turn bullish when the stock RSI hits oversold. We can get these two again moving up in sync together. Look how low the RSI is. The RSI is so low at the moment. We're looking for some sort of bounce from the RSI as well. That could be our indication of some sort of bullish momentum and movement upwards. Okay. Problem we have right now is what's going to be happening in the traditional market. So the SPX is just hanging on by a thread to the 618, so key level of support. But the 200 simple moving average, 200 SMA just below it. So we may well see the S&P move down to this sort of level and then bounce off this level. Okay, so we're just watching to see whether this moves down, and if it does, will Bitcoin move down with it? Nasdaq, okay, so Nasdaq has moved down on daily. The Nasdaq is below the 200 SMA, okay, and it hasn't done this for some time. I mentioned this in group. So since the COVID sell-off, March 2020, we haven't seen the Nasdaq move down to this sort of area below the 200 SMA. Okay, so this is concerning people somewhat. So we're looking for a response from the Nasdaq and then a move above the 200 SMA. So if I were to draw the 200, so just get your trend line, just follow the trajectory of the 200 SMA, and then that allows us to see it on other time frames. Okay, so we're looking to see whether the Nasdaq can move above the 200 SMA, retest and start to move higher, or whether it gets rejected here and starts to move lower. Okay, possible scenario, double bottom on the Nasdaq. So you could see a move down. Might not even see that. Okay, this could be the double bottom here, but there's a bit too much of a gap between this price here and this price for it to be a double bottom, I would say. But you may well see a rejection and move down. Then we see that double bottom in place before a move higher. Okay, we've got support on the 236 fib as well. So keep an eye on the Nasdaq just in case. Bitcoin dominance was moving upwards, but starting to move lower. Okay, so what we're saying is keep an eye on this area here, 41, for a rejection. We're looking for a double top right here and then a move down from Bitcoin dominance. However, with regards to what's happening in the price action with Bitcoin, we may see Bitcoin dominance start to move lower anyway, but let's keep an eye on that. Bitcoin shorts, okay, Bitcoin shorts have been gradually increasing for some time. It will be interesting in the area that we're in now whether we see shorts continue to increase or not. So keep an eye on Bitcoin shorts as well. Ethereum BTC, general overview of what the altcoin market cap is like, and it is typically not looking too good. So to summarize, I wouldn't necessarily be trading right now. I would give it a few hours at least. Let's see if Bitcoin settles in this area. I'm keen to find out whether it would be good to retest this support level again. So I'm just on a 30-minute time frame. It would be good to test this sort of support level, 38,244, and then potentially bounce from this area. Okay, 30-minute time frame, possibly forming some sort of bear flag right now. Okay, so this could be a downward continuation pattern. So look potentially for a test of this lower trend line, 38,244. We're just looking for some sort of signal from Bitcoin, looking for volume to come in. You can see how on the 30-minute time frame volume has just dropped off massively. We're looking for some sort of volume spike. We're looking for some sort of move up from Bitcoin to give us an indication that the price action might be starting to move higher. But I'm just not sure that's going to happen right now. Okay, keep an eye on this falling wedge that we're trading in. Keep an eye on the CME Gap, and then set an alert at 37,496. We just don't want to be moving below that bearish retest, because I'm pretty sure we will fill that CME Gap if it does. And then obviously we've put in, so if we go to, actually we'll stay on the 4 hour, but we basically put in another lower low. Let's go to the daily actually. Okay, so as of the price action as it stands, we've got higher low and lower high. It's going to be another lower low here, which again just tells us that we're in this downtrend. Not like we don't know that we're in the downtrend at the moment, but just keep an eye on that. This level here, so 32,523, we definitely don't want to be losing that level. Okay, we've lost it here, but this was still a lower high compared to previous price actions. So basically you had your high and low here, and we didn't drop down past this particular price point. Okay, so this was a lower high in essence. Here we dropped down below this price. Let me just mark that on the chart actually. We dropped down below this price. We're in danger of putting in a lower high, which could lead to a much serious correction, much more serious correction. Okay, so if the price action starts to move down and we drop below this level, 28,884, we potentially could see a bearish retest and then a continuation lower. Okay, so I'm not expecting that to happen, if I'm being honest, but we just need to have it in the back of our head that Bitcoin is very bearish at the moment. And like we keep saying, until we break this upper trend line, consider that the price action will continue downwards. So with any trade that you're doing, you're trading against the trend. Okay, so if you're trading against the trend, it becomes a lot more riskier. Okay, so expectations, bit of sideways movement for now. I'd like to retest at 38,244 and some sort of bounce if possible. Possible retest of 37,496 as well. But remember, if we do lose this level, then potentially we're moving down to the CM Gap, 33,000, 34,000 area. Okay, I'll leave it there, and I'll do another update probably just after lunch, about 1 or 2 o'clock. Cheers.